Parents hosted a Thanksgiving lunch, just to tell me that the insurance payout from my recent car accident needed to go toward my sister's wedding because her fiancé's family couldn't cover everything, and when I refused, my sister screamed that she would give me another car accident herself, and now I'm back in the hospital while my family claims I'm overreacting. I've had a rough couple of months, and honestly I thought Thanksgiving would be the first day I could breathe a little. I'm still recovering from a car accident that wasn't even my fault. I'm bruised up, I'm sore. I'm dealing with insomnia from the whole thing, and I'm still waiting for the final insurance payout that's supposed to help cover my medical bills and get me back on my feet. My parents knew all this. They'd been checking in every now and then, acting sympathetic, asking me if I needed anything, and telling me that Thanksgiving lunch would be low-key so I didn't have to push myself. Spoiler, it was not low-key. For context, my sister has always been that person who takes everything you're doing and turns it into a personal attack on her. If you get a job, she somehow makes it about how you're trying to outshine her. If you're struggling, she throws passive comments about bad luck following some people. I stopped telling her anything years ago because she twists it into something ugly, and she's been planning this giant, ridiculous wedding that's basically a flex-off with her fiancé's family. Every time I've been around her, she's been complaining about vendors, how things won't look high-end enough, and how her fiancé's parents aren't contributing like they should. I didn't care. It's her wedding, not mine. Anyway, I show up to Thanksgiving lunch, already tired, already in pain, and there's suddenly a ton of extended family I didn't know would be there. I should have trusted my gut and left right then. I could feel the energy shift when I walked in. People weren't acting normal. They were looking at me the way people look at you when they've already decided what your role is supposed to be. My mom made a big show of pulling out a chair for me, like she was setting me up for something. My dad kept smiling too much. We eat, everyone does the small talk thing, and then out of nowhere my parents start going on about family stepping up and supporting big life milestones and sharing blessings. I thought they were maybe hinting at my sister wanting to add more people to the wedding list, which is already insane, but nope, they finally say the quiet part. They think I should put my entire insurance payout, my accident payout, toward my sister's wedding budget because her fiancé's family can't cover everything, and it would be meaningful for me to give back. I actually laughed. I couldn't help it. I thought it was a joke, but then my sister jumps in and says it makes sense because I don't have a family to support, and an accident payout is unexpected money anyway, and I should want to use it for something that actually matters. That was the moment I realized they'd been planning this whole thing. The lunch, the extended family, the fake concern, everything. It was all a setup so I couldn't react without looking like the difficult one. But I don't play that game. I told them flat out no. No apology, no softening it, nothing. Just no. My sister lost her mind instantly. She started ranting about how I was being dramatic, making her look greedy, and trying to sabotage her future. She does this thing where she makes every problem sound like the end of the world, even when she caused it. She called me selfish for hoarding money, which is wild because that payout is literally for my medical bills and the damage from the accident. I'm still in physical therapy. I still can't even sleep on my left side. My parents didn't yell, but the disappointment in their faces said enough. They honestly looked like I'd personally slapped them. Then they dropped the line that made everything click. That the wedding was a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and my accident payout was already covered by insurance, so I don't really need it. They didn't even try to hide the entitlement. What really pushed things over the edge was when we stepped outside. I told them I was leaving, and I wasn't wasting another minute in a room where everyone had already decided I was going to bankroll someone else's wedding. My sister followed me out, still screaming, still trying to get a reaction. She kept ranting about respect and loyalty and family sacrifices, and then she said that if I wanted another accident so bad, she'd give me one herself. Before I could even process what she said, she shoved me, hard. I lost my footing on the edge of their driveway. I hit the concrete so fast I didn't have time to brace. All I remember is the crack in my ribs lighting up again and the back of my head slamming down. That's when everything spun. My parents ran out, not to check on me, but to yell at her for going too far in the heat of the moment. Meanwhile, I'm on the ground trying to get air back into my lungs while they're scolding her like she's a toddler who threw a toy, not someone who re-injured me after a car accident. They tried to say I slipped because of the shoes I was wearing, and that my sister wasn't even touching me when I fell, which is a bold lie considering half the cousins saw it happen. One of my uncles ended up driving me to the hospital because my parents said they didn't want to escalate things. I guess driving their injured daughter to the ER after their other daughter assaulted her counts as escalation. So now I'm back in the hospital, again, with new scans, new pain, and a doctor telling me that my ribs are in worse shape than before, and I might have a concussion, and my phone is blowing up with texts from my parents saying I need to let it go because my sister is under a lot of wedding pressure and didn't mean it. They said going to the police would destroy the family. They're acting like I tripped, not like their grown adult daughter shoved me onto concrete after threatening to hurt me. I haven't responded to them. I'm too angry and honestly too tired. I've been trying to stay calm, get my records together, and figure out my next steps. I'm not someone who sits and takes things, and I'm not doing it now. I posted because I'm trying to decide if filing a report is even worth it, knowing how my family will react. Update 1. I've been in the hospital longer than I expected, and honestly this whole thing has gotten even messier than I thought it would. I'm writing this because after everything that happened at that Thanksgiving disaster, I needed to know if I was losing it, or if my family was really as unhinged as the nurses here clearly think they are. And based on how the past few days have gone, I'm realizing I wasn't even close to understanding how deep this goes. To start, the doctors documented everything, every bruise, every spot where the pain from my ribs went from healing to flaring like it did on day 1 of the accident, every inch of swelling on my head. It's all in my file now with timestamps and notes comparing the new injuries to the previous ones. One of the nurses asked me if I felt safe at home. I didn't sugarcoat anything. I said I was fine being alone, but I wasn't letting my sister anywhere near me again. The nurse just nodded and said the doctor would include everything in my discharge summary. I could tell she wanted to say more, but she didn't have to. I already knew what she was thinking. Something about what happened wasn't normal, and she's right. Meanwhile, my sister has been blowing up my phone like she's auditioning for every role in a soap opera at once. I can't listen to half of the voice notes because she swings from crying like she's in some tragic movie scene to accusing me of trying to ruin her life to telling me I'm exaggerating an accident she absolutely caused. She keeps sending these long, rambling explanations trying to rewrite what happened, like I somehow tripped into her hands. Then she pivots into pity messages about her wedding and how everything in her life is falling apart because I refuse to help the family. Not one message about my injuries. Not one. What I didn't expect was hearing from my sister's fiance's mother out of nowhere. She messaged me because she heard I was in the hospital again. I don't even know how she found out that fast, but she apologized before anything else, like she personally shoved me. It caught me off guard because I never got the sense that she had anything to do with the wedding circus or the way my family acts. She told me their side has been trying to keep things calm for months, and that the wedding planning has been a nightmare because my sister has been making demands no one can meet. But the real surprise was her hinting that she and her husband have been worried about my sister for a long time. She danced around details, but she made it clear they've been thinking about stepping in for weeks and that my being hurt again was the last thing they wanted to hear. My sister's fiance, who barely ever contacts me directly, also texted. His messages were short but tense. Stuff like he can't keep pretending everything is normal, and he should have spoken up sooner. He kept saying there were things about my sister that he didn't want to be responsible for hiding anymore. I didn't push. If he wants to talk, he can talk. I'm not babysitting grown adults. My parents, on the other hand, decided they were going to show up at the hospital. They didn't ask. They didn't warn me. They just walked in acting like they were here to do some supportive family photo op. They immediately launched into how I needed to pull the family back together. They said my sister was in a state and that I had to tell the doctors I slipped so she wouldn't spiral. They stood there like they genuinely expected me to clean up their mess again. I shut that down fast. I told them I wasn't letting anyone use my injuries to prop up my sister's behavior, and when they pushed harder, I told them to leave. I wasn't polite about it either. They left with that wounded, "How dare you" look, but again, I'm past caring. Later that night, the fiancé texted again, longer messages this time. He said he didn't know if the wedding was happening anymore. He admitted the whole Thanksgiving setup wasn't just my parents' idea, my sister had been planning it for days. She apparently told him she needed my insurance payout to fix problems with the wedding budget, and when he asked what that even meant, she told him it was handled. There's something I didn't know until today. Apparently, my sister has been telling his family for months that I was being stingy about the insurance money and that she was worried I'd waste it instead of putting it towards something valuable. I nearly dropped my phone reading that. I didn't even know she had discussed my payout with anyone outside our immediate family. The worst part? Hearing that she's been making these comments about me being dramatic about the car accident itself, as if being hospitalized twice is some routine inconvenience. I've known she minimizes everything that isn't about her, but this was a new level. I've decided to start documenting everything. I'm done protecting people who clearly don't care if I get shoved into another hospital bed. Update 2. After I got home from the hospital, my phone started blowing up with messages from my sister again, but I ignored them like before. I didn't want to deal with her drama or her blame shifting, but then my fiancé finally reached out again and things took a turn that made it impossible to just ignore. He asked to meet in person, saying he had to tell me something. I was hesitant, but I agreed. We met a few days later, and he was clearly anxious. At first, he kept talking in circles, but eventually, he spilled everything about my sister that I had no idea about. He said she has a history of violence that goes way beyond what I experienced. He admitted she had hit him multiple times in the past, once threw a glass at him, and threatened to ruin his reputation when they argued. He said my accident wasn't an accident, she had planned to corner me when no one else was around, and he knew it because he had been in situations where she had done similar manipulations. Then he started telling me things about her that made me question my parents' version of everything. Apparently, an ex of hers filed a complaint years ago because she attacked him, and my parents paid to have it dismissed. She had a college friend she had assaulted over a minor argument. She vandalized someone else's car in a jealous rage, and my parents had covered it all up every time. He kept apologizing for not saying anything sooner, but he said he had tried to maintain peace for everyone's sake. I didn't feel relieved, I felt furious. The more he spoke, the more I realized that my parents had actively covered for a pattern of abusive behavior while expecting me to hand over money after my accident. Meanwhile, the wedding started to implode. Fiancé's parents were clearly fed up. They were threatening to withdraw entirely, and I got texts from vendors demanding payment my sister couldn't cover. They were worried about deposits and contracts falling through. Then my sister escalated again. She showed up uninvited at a family dinner with his side and made a scene, screaming about money and accusing people of conspiring against her. It wasn't just embarrassing, it confirmed for me that she doesn't think about consequences at all. I don't know what's going to happen with the wedding at this point. Fiancé's parents are clearly reconsidering everything, and sister's behavior has completely ruined any chance of normalcy. My parents are still trying to manipulate the situation, insisting I protect her or keep the family together, but I finally realized there's nothing left to protect. My sister is a risk to anyone who gets close, and my family's enabling makes it worse. I can't be part of it, and I refuse to let them guilt me into taking responsibility for her actions. Update 3. I never thought I'd get to the point where I actually called the police on my sister, but here we are. I requested all my medical records, gathered timestamps of her texts and voice messages, and made a detailed statement about the incident. When I filed the report, the police were serious. They said that because of my documented prior accident and the obvious re-injury from the shove, along with her direct threat, this was a legitimate assault and threat case. They even mentioned that her past history, even if they didn't have official documentation yet, would be relevant once they started investigating. For the first time, it felt like someone outside my family was actually taking me seriously, besides the lovely people on Reddit. As soon as my parents found out I'd filed, they came to my apartment. They were furious, yelling about how I was destroying the family and making everything worse. I made it clear that I wouldn't tolerate being guilt-tripped or manipulated anymore. I told them I could call the police again if they tried to intimidate me. It was the first real moment I felt a permanent crack forming between me and them. I don't think anything will ever go back to the way it was after this. I kept my composure, but inside I was exhausted, angry, and relieved all at once. Meanwhile, my sister's entire world started crumbling. The fiancé finally left her. He admitted to me later that he was genuinely afraid of her and couldn't live with someone who had such a violent streak. He moved out immediately, leaving her screaming in the parking lot that I had stolen him from her. I didn't engage, I didn't want to be a part of her meltdown, and I didn't need to. Watching her unravel like that was surreal, knowing the truth behind everything she had done. Then came the next wave. Fiancé's parents started preparing for civil action. They hired a lawyer and began documenting every single thing she had done: property damage, threats, emotional distress, wedding expenses she'd ruined. They already had photos, texts, neighbor statements, and even footage of past incidents she'd caused. Apparently months ago, she had vandalized something at their property after an argument, and it had been quietly swept under the rug at the time. Now it was all coming back to bite her. It's a strange feeling. I'm relieved she's facing consequences, but it's also insane to realize how long this pattern has been going on and how much my family covered. Of course, my sister tried one last manipulative move. Out of nowhere, she announced she was pregnant, presumably to pressure me into dropping the criminal charges or to make everyone feel sorry for her. My parents immediately jumped on that angle, trying to guilt me, but I wasn't buying it. Fiancé insists she's lying, which isn't surprising given she's done similar stunts before. She refuses to take a test, which just makes the claim more suspect. This was her classic manipulation use drama and fake vulnerability to get what she wants, and I refused to be part of it. And it didn't stop there. She started stalking me. One of my neighbors recorded her outside my door, screaming threats about what she was going to do if I kept ruining her life. I didn't engage, but I did save the recording. I've blocked her on everything, and I'm seriously considering getting a restraining order if it continues. At this point, it's not just about money or a wedding. It's about my safety, my mental health, and making sure she can't hurt anyone else. Final update. Reddit, this is it. The last piece of this mess, and honestly, it's exhausting even typing it. But I promised I would share the whole story, so here it is. After everything that happened with Thanksgiving, the car accident, the shove, the hospital stay, the threats, and all the chaos with my sister and her fiancé, things finally reached their breaking point. And yes, the consequences for her have been extreme criminal charges, civil suits, and the total implosion of our family. Once the police had everything, they opened a formal investigation. They interviewed the fiancé, who provided his testimony about her past violent behaviors, and neighbors corroborated the threats. Even my parents, despite trying to gaslight me throughout the process, couldn't interfere. The police confirmed the charges: assault causing bodily harm, criminal threats, and harassment. She was officially served. As if the criminal charges weren't enough, his parents filed a civil lawsuit against her. They included property damage she had caused months prior, emotional distress, costs from disrupted wedding plans, and compensation for the threats and trauma she created. They had documents, photos, texts, and security footage from previous incidents where she had destroyed property or harassed people. This was all officially submitted right after the criminal charges were filed, so now she's facing both criminal charges and a civil suit simultaneously. The wedding is completely ruined. The venue held the deposits. The fiancé officially called it off publicly, and he's moved to another state to live with relatives because he doesn't feel safe around her. She's humiliated socially, has zero credibility with the extended family, and all the people who were supposed to support her now see her as the violent, unstable one. Vendors she promised to pay are left holding the bills. Her entire life since Thanksgiving has been legal documents, court dates, and people refusing to interact with her. For me, I cut off the family entirely. I blocked my parents, my sister, and the extended relatives who were enabling her. I sent a final written boundary. No contact, no visits, no apologies, no chances. I'm done. There's no going back. They screamed. They called me heartless, but I can't risk my safety or sanity anymore. I'm in my own apartment. I'm healing physically. I'm in therapy, and I'm finally safe. My sister is now fully facing the consequences of her actions. Court dates are scheduled. She's liable for thousands in civil damages. She lost her fiancé. She lost any financial stability she had planned for. She burned bridges with everyone who had previously tolerated her behavior. Even my parents' attempts to clean up her reputation are ignored because nobody believes them anymore. Extended family members are distancing themselves. She's officially the family member everyone whispers about as the one who was violent and uncontrollable, the one they covered for far too long. I won't say this is a happy ending because there's nothing happy about watching your family fall apart or having to face the reality that people you trusted enabled abuse for years. But I am relieved, detached, safe. My life is mine now.